Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Leaders Worldwide, a online club. If you are a guest and you don't have a G in front of your name, please do that. I am Isaac, the Sergeant at Arms, and the club mission, we provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. The core values are integrity, respect, service, and excellence. Now it is my pleasure to introduce our president, Tala bin Hamid. Tala, take the podium.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Isaac Ford. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here this fine morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are. It's a fine time. And why is it a fine time? Because all of us took the leap of faith and jumped into this meeting where strange and magical things are about to happen. Yes, that's true. Today's theme is, put me in, coach, I'm ready to play. And if you are ready to play, trust me, life will throw adventures your way. If you are someone who always wants to try out new dishes whenever you dine out, if you are someone who's eager to take assignments that you have no idea about, you will be well catered for because there are few people like us. As an example, towards the end of last year, which means the last fiscal year, in April or May, I was wondering, my spell as District Director of District 122 was coming to an end. And I was so worried about what my legacy would be, what people would be saying about me on July 1st, 2022, because then I will be the past and there will be a new leadership. I was not conscious about losing the leadership position because that's part of life. Leadership is temporary, of course. What I was worried about was, how will people think of my term? And suddenly I received a message from Leaders Worldwide Nomination Committee. Would you like to run for a position, perhaps for the president? And suddenly it clicked. Don't let the time pass. Erase the past by constantly moving into the future. Don't let people contemplate your legacy. Don't have a legacy because you always move forward. And that was the answer. And as long as you are ready to jump into new things, this very club is the place for you. Its very existence is the proof that anything can happen as long as you have the courage and a slight bit of stupidity and madness to jump into the unknown. So I welcome you all, and we have quite a few guests here. So we'll ask our first guest, Malcolm Wilson, Toastmaster Malcolm Wilson. What brings you here and what are you about?
Thanks for putting me in the game, Coach, Mr. President, everyone. My name is Malcolm. What brings me here? Simply put, an invitation from a fellow Toastmaster. I'm joining for the first time. I reside currently in Paradise, a slice of Caribbean. Island is called Bonaire, and I'm traveling. I'm in Europe now. I'm calling in from Haarlem in the Netherlands. I love Toastmasters, so I accepted the invitation and I'm glad to be here. Let's enjoy the meeting. Back to you, Mr. President.
So you're traveling to another country and dropping in on a meeting halfway across the world. Wow. But you're also traveling around the sun and around the center of the galaxy. So we're all travelers. We have our guest, Toastmaster Aneta, if I'm, please forgive me if I butchered that. Yes, please introduce yourself.
Good day, and thank you so much for the warm welcome. I'm glad to be back here with Worldwide again. I joined during their inaugural, and it was phenomenal. And I just happened to be able to have the opportunity to stop by. I hail from District 100 Online Club, Grace and Salt Speakers, and also District 8 here in the beautiful USA Midwest, St. Louis, Missouri, on the east side of the Arch, Continental Communicators. Thank you.
That was beautiful. It's amazing to have you here. And oh, wow, look who we have here. We have someone we have been missing for quite a long time. I've been receiving emails from EasySpeak that this member is losing interest. But no, she's not losing interest. In fact, she's right where Leaders Worldwide is, isn't it? Where are you, Toastmaster Rabia, right now?
Assalamualaikum. Good morning, everyone. That's the first time I'm saying that at Leaders Worldwide because I am here in Tennessee, Memphis, USA.
All right. So nice to have you all. And we have another guest, but he's not a mere. Oh, yeah. We have a guest, DTM Vamsi Yera Pragada. And again, apologies for surely I butchered that. Please correct my pronunciation and also introduce yourself.
Yeah, you pronounced me right. This is Vamsi. I am from two districts, District 126 and 125, Division Director at District 126. And my home club is at 125. And yeah, this meeting, I love to go to different countries and different clubs, visit a lot of people to see, how the meetings are conducted and to learn something. So far, I cover nearly 80 countries and I'm still roaming on the Zoom. Yeah, thank you.
Wow, that's wonderful. Absolutely wonderful to have you. And now it's time for me to hand over the proceedings to someone who's a strict disciplinarian, but also a softie at heart. Yeah, I see that. Everyone, she needs no introduction. Please put your hands together for our Toastmaster of the Day, DTM Linda Patton. Over to you, Linda.
Thank you, Tala, so very much for that beautiful introduction. And I have a way to start this meeting. Hold on. So we thank John Fogerty for that rousing welcome. Tala, like you, I can't seem to say no to new positions. So this year I thought, great, all I'm going to be is the treasurer for Leaders Worldwide and the secretary for Heart to Heart. Wrong. I'm also the the district admin officer, the interim district finance officer, and the Division G director. I have more jobs than I know what to do with, but I have a great team of people to help me. Same way in this meeting, we have so many great Toastmasters to help us in this meeting. And I'm going to go through my list shortly after, actually I am not, I'm going to let Isaac do that with his team. So our theme, as you can tell for today, is put me in, coach. I'm ready to play center field or wherever else we want to put you. Isaac, please tell us about your team. You're muted.
Great. Thank you for that, Coach Patton. I think I can do center field. As a matter of fact, I have the skills to do that. So thank you very much. And on our team today, we have two people that's going to be our helpers. And the first one is going to be the grammarian. And Sally Rios, would you tell us what you're going to be doing today?
Thank you, and good morning. I am always listening for our grammarian expressions that sometimes don't fit or make our speeches and communication too complicated with the ahs, ams, buts, so's, and I get to count them, and it's amazing to see how many have gone downhill to practically nothing. I'm very proud of everybody. I don't know if my sound is proper. It seems like it's very faint. I hope you're getting my message. And our word of the day is skill. And skill are the knowledge and the identity that you can take on to acquire a higher level of execution. And that's exactly what we're learning to do here today. Thank you.
Great. Thank you for that, Sally. And our next position is going to be our timer. Kathleen Peel, would you take the baseball bat and let us know what you're going to be doing?
Well, I guess we all need a referee or a rules maker. And so I am going to just keep us on the track with our timing. So when we have spoken for a sufficient amount of time, you'll see the green light up. When you're about to get into the end of your time allotment, you'll see the yellow. And then when you have when you've completed your outside time parameter, you'll see the red, and then you have 30 seconds to finish. And we have a very special Toastmaster coming to give us our keynote, and he is performing the service of explaining and inviting our service. And he will be, we are not going to define his time parameters. He's going to speak up to 5 minutes, maybe less. It's up to him, maybe more, it's up to him. And then we will have up to 5 minutes after that for our Q&A conversation with Chris Hallisey, our
So
honored guest.
are you going to give him some indication that he's hit 5 minutes?
I will do I don't believe, from what I heard from him, I don't believe he's going to go that far, but I will give the.
Yeah, let's make sure to give him a green at 5, a yellow at 6, and a 7. We'll give him the red. If he doesn't go that long, that's great. But at least the guidelines will be there, because sometimes time just escapes us when we're speaking. And same thing with the Q&A, because we don't want to get away from ourselves there with time.
Okay, that's wise.
Thank you.
All right, back to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Great, thank you for that. And now I'm going to pitch it back to our Toastmaster of the day, Linda. Linda, you have the
Pitch
podium.
it back. That's good.
Thank you so much. Tossing the ball around the room. So let me introduce, yes, you can count that, Sally. Chris Hallisey grew up in Georgia. He's a Georgia peach. Absolutely. He came out to California for college and never left. He's been a software engineer for 10 years and currently works at OpenAI. He's been a Toastmaster for only a year. He serves as the VPE of his club, Lakeside Speakeasy, and is the D57 club coach and club ambassador liaison. Welcome, Chris Hallisey.
Thank you for that introduction, Linda. I must admit, I got very excited when I heard that I didn't have a time limit, because I was just gonna monologue for as long as y'all would stand it. And then someone had to put a cap on me, and I'm just devastated. I'm hurt. I have loved this meeting so far already. Y'all have great energy. I am excited to meet all these other Toastmasters from all these other countries. This is just such a cool meeting. But fellow Toastmasters, my name is Chris, and I am the, as mentioned, club coach and ambassador liaison for Division D, a group of about 20 clubs that includes yourselves and my home club, Lakeside Speakeasy. I am here looking for volunteers for the club coach and ambassador program. Unfortunately, because I have now been put into presenter mode, I can see a grand total of, I think, 4 of you at a time. So I am hopeful that I can see hands raised when I do the next level. Oh, I switched back to gallery mode. Okay, we're good. Great. Before I begin, how many of you have previously served as a club coach or club ambassador in the past?
Or are currently serving?
Or are currently serving? Wow, that is a lot of hands. Okay, that's way more than I normally get. So this might be a slightly different speech. When I say club coach and ambassador, who here has no idea what I am talking about? Got a couple? I've got 3. Okay. For the new folks in the audience, I'm going to give a quick introduction. And for the more experienced folks, when we hit the Q&A, please feel free to jump in and talk about your own experiences. I would love to hear firsthand accounts about how you thought the coaching ambassador program went under your time. But for a quick introduction, the club coach and ambassador programs are 2 programs that Toastmasters has in order to help struggling clubs. Toastmasters clubs can struggle for any number of reasons. A kind of classic one is if you don't have enough members to fill meeting roles, it's really hard for the club to support folks to give speeches when you're trying to do double time on like being a timer and a grammarian. Just things can fall apart very quickly. And a club coach or a club ambassador can come in and help that club try to build members, try to hit educational goals, whatever it really takes to get that club back to being healthy. A coach and ambassador or a coach or ambassador position lasts until the end of the current Toastmaster year. It can be
currently unmuted.
I have no idea what that was.
It's Malcolm, it's fine.
Okay. Can be optionally extended 1 additional year. There are a number of reasons why you might be interested in being a club coach or ambassador. Among them, they count towards DTM and OATM awards. They are a great way to meet other Toastmasters, which is a thing I have often struggled with, especially during the pandemic. They're a great way to just get more involved in the organization if you're looking for a way to step up your responsibility. Or if you're like me and have just hit your level 4 and level 5 projects and have literally no idea what to do with them, these are also great things you can use for those levels as well. You might have one quick question, which is, Chris, you've mentioned the club coaches and the club ambassadors, but what's really the difference? And for that, I have a slide, which I'm very excited about. It's a very simple slide, but if you'll see, hopefully this showed up correctly. But the basic difference is that the club coach program is very formalized. It's a very established Toastmasters program. It has very specific requirements about who can join, but it also lets you do things like it's I believe a requirement for the Distinguished Toastmaster Award. The ambassador program is much newer, is not as formal, though I imagine there are several here who can tell me exactly how formal it is. But it's a program meant to have less qualifications, let more people get involved with coaching and help clubs that are generally struggling a little bit less. Coaches tend to help clubs that have less than 12 members and are really struggling to recruit new people. Ambassadors you can tend to think of as like, you got enough members, but you're really having trouble getting that +3 every year that you need in order to qualify for the Distinguished Toastmaster or Distinguished Club Awards. I will stop sharing this now, if I can remember how to. There it is. Before I continue, I know there are a number of you who have been coaches and ambassadors in the past. Are any of you interested in being coaches and ambassadors again in the future? I'm happy to follow up with you now or later. I'll leave my contact information in chat, but quick show of hands. Is anyone here looking to be a coach or ambassador based on this already? Two participants have raised hands. I cannot, Kathleen, I know that you're raising your hand already, but I can't tell if Marlon is raising their hand because they're interested in being a club coach. But I can also follow up with Marlon later. Great. I will leave my contact information in the chat along with an FAQ page about the coaching program. But I'd like to leave the rest of my time for Q&A. Thank you so much for having me, and I'm looking forward towards the rest of the meeting.
Cynthia has a question for you.
Hi, Chris. Thank you so much for coming and talking about the club coach and the ambassador program. The ambassador program is a District 57 program. So I want to let Toastmasters know that are visiting from outside of District 57. And it's to help those clubs that are struggling, but not enough to get a club coach. So you have to have 12 or less members in order to get a club coach, but you can have more members, I think up to 19 members, and there's some DCP points that you need to achieve. So there's some fine-tuned things about that, but I think that's wonderful because then you don't get credit as a club coach, but you can get credit for a level 4 or level 5 program in the ambassador program. And the club coach, actually we have a brand new member. She's been a Toastmaster for quite some time, but she's joining Leaders Worldwide for the first time. And she is going to be doing a club coach and a DTM project so she can finish her DTM by next June.
Wow.
So we're trying to place her. We have a one of our members, Dr. Michelle Peticolas, is coaching a club, and we want her to come in as a second coach. And I think that's really fantastic. I think leaders should never do anything alone. So I love pairing up club coaches together and maybe even club ambassadors together because, you know, 2 people will make it much more fun than just one. So I'm so glad that you're here telling our members about this. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you so much for adding all of that. You know, I've done this presentation to a few clubs, and I have to say I've never really had to mention that this is a D57 thing before, which is I think a very special thing about this club. And just I didn't even think to talk about that. So thank you.
Yeah, Chris, at least when I was a club ambassador, you had to increase their DCP points by at least 2 in order to get credit. But Kathleen has a question for you. She's that's okay. She thinks that a common question is, how much time commitment would this require? First, and then there's a second question. If you answer that one, and I'll give you the second one.
Yeah, so I kind of actually want to use a sports metaphor. I want to pick someone off the bench here. I have never been a coach or ambassador. Part of the requirement for being a coach is that you have to have served as an officer for at least a year, and I'm working on it, but I'm not there yet. Would anyone who has actually been a coach or ambassador here like to answer this question on my behalf?
I can answer it for you, and I'd love to have somebody else as well. I was an ambassador first, and it was the first year that they did the ambassador program. So it was not really a whole lot of work. A lot of it went wrapped around the officers meeting and what they wanted to do and how they wanted to go about doing it, and just encouraging to make that happen. And I happen to have a really great club that I think actually increased their DCP points by 4. So I was very, very proud of them. Yes. I'm currently a club coach. It's much more challenging, as I'm sure Michelle would say if she were here, primarily because oftentimes the club has very set in their ways about how they do things. And even though they asked you to coach, it's like, yeah, but. So it does take more energy to get them to move on, in essence, to get them to move off the dime. It's like they're sort of comfortable where they are, and yet they know that they're not where they need to be. So the biggest part is to encourage, at least for me, is to encourage them to try something new, to go someplace different, to think about maybe joining another club, especially if there are several clubs in the area that are smaller, and together they could be a really super club. So I think the club coaching is more challenging because the members are often set in, this is how we do things, whereas the ambassadors are just looking for how can we make this better.
I love it. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question. This is Cassandra.
Howdy.
Hi, thank you for coming. My question is, what level do they start at? What do you start at? When do you accept people at what level?
You mean like what level in pathways?
Mm-hmm.
So for coaching, there is an official requirement that you need to have, I believe, completed at least level 2 in pathways. I do not believe there is an official requirement for ambassadors.
Oh.
Linda's shaking her head. I'm assuming that that's agreeing with me, or is there a correction?
No, I think that's
Okay.
correct. Yeah. And it looks like Annette, Cassandra, did that answer your question?
Yes.
Thank you. Annette has her hand raised.
Thank you so much. This is Annetta. I am not in your district, but I do have a question. Are you open, Chris, to Toastmasters that meet the requirements as a club coach to come in and be a part of coaching one of your clubs if accepted?
I'm seeing at least one nod of the audience. I will be frank, I have no idea because I was not expecting this question whatsoever.
Yes.
And the
Yes,
reason
we've
I ask-
absolutely placed club coaches in our district, and you don't have to be a members of Leaders Worldwide. It's just you have to abide by the protocol and be accepted by the club. So some clubs are not open to people, club coaches from outside the area, and some are. So it's just what they want to focus on. I will say that this year, club coaches are required to take club coach training. And I think it's also open to club ambassadors, but I'm not positive on that one. But it could be really, sorry, that's the noise. That's me. That's my fire alarm it's wonky today. It keeps going off and there's no fire, I assure you. But the coaching may take some time, but it's well worth it. I want to take the club coaching training myself because I think that's really good that it's offered. And then I am helping others to become club coach. So thank you. Back to you, Chris.
Thank you so much. I'm glad someone happened to know that offhand. I see I have a yellow from the timer. Maybe we call it there.
You have
You
one
know,
more que- you have one
I
more
actually, we have a rather flexible schedule where the table topics section can expand or contract. And this is a very important, valuable, fruitful conversation. I would suggest that we use up our time efficiently, but not require a hard stop. What do you think, Al?
And Chris has two questions. Marlon has his hand up.
Sure. Let's do
And then,
Marlon first.
and then you have a question from Malcolm. Marlon, you first.
Currently unmuted. Hi, Chris. I just wanted to find out. I got bumped off a couple times. Is the coaching? It's a training program, correct?
I believe the coaching is both a training program, but most of your time will be spent helping out another Toastmaster club, trying to help them recruit more members and work on their educational goals.
The question I have to is that, do you get a certificate at the end of the, or during, or?
Yeah.
Coach a club?
Yeah, so there's a few things you get upon completion of a coaching program. I believe you get a certificate. You also get officially recognized by the district, and you get to use this as credit as part of a Distinguished Toastmaster Award.
Wonderful. Thank you.
And there's OATM credit too. The Outstanding Achievement Toastmaster Award that's awarded by District 57, which includes a plaque and recognition at the district conference or the officer installation. So OATM, Outstanding Achievement Toastmaster Award.
I just love racking up certificates to put in my file. That's it.
Or hang them on your walls.
Listen, I'm a police officer, so when they see trainer, club coach, like, wait, what? I'm taking what I can get, yes, and I'm helping another club. That's the most important thing.
I love it.
All right, thank you. And then a question from Malcolm Wilson. He says, what are the initial steps for a club coach to coach a club successfully?
You know, I have a guess on this one, but I suspect that I should just hand it right back to the coaches who have done this before and hear from their experience.
Well, I can see, at least from my experience, both as a coach and as an ambassador, the first step is to listen and to hear where they are, where they think they are, where they think they want to go, the challenges that they've had, how they've tried to overcome them, and what they're open to. If you've got a club that is struggling and suffering, and you say, okay, we need new members. No, we're happy with what we have now. You need to join Pathways. No, I really like the old program better. You're going to have a really tough time as a coach getting them to step off that dime. But if you can encourage them and get them to see another way of going, you're more likely to be successful as a club coach. I love clubs that are going, help. We need help. We want you. Tell us what to do, or at least give us guidance. And those are the easiest clubs to coach.
I love it. Thank you.
Marlon or Malcolm, did I answer your question? Hello? You can unmute.
Yes,
Malcolm,
Linda, thank you.
you're welcome. Okay. Kathleen, back to you as timer.
All right, that I think is sufficient to close this section. And I'm very happy to meet you. I thank you very much for your service. And I thank our prior ambassadors and coaches for your instruction and enlightenment. This was a very fruitful session because I'm worried about expending more time and making more work for myself. But this session made me think, well, this would give me as much as I get. I would receive as much as I give. Maybe I should do this. Thank you very much, Chris. Back to you, Linda.
Thank you. And it's time for break. We're going to take a 5-minute break. We're going to pause the
session.
$37 things. Hi. So thank you, Kathleen, for bringing us back, and Isaac for resuming our Zoom, no, our YouTube and all that. Next, I get to introduce Kathleen again to talk about the timing colors for the speeches that we have.
Talha's speech will be 5 to 7 minutes. So the green background will show up 5 minutes, yellow 6, red at 7, and then Talha will have 30 seconds to wrap up.
Okay, thank you very much, Kathleen. And with that, Afia, are you going to announce the speech path, project, purpose, and timing for Tala?
Apparently, Atifa is not here, so Cynthia is going to do us a favor.
Thank you. Cynthia, would you please announce?
Yes. Okay, great. Sorry for the background noise. My fire alarm's going crazy today. Okay, Tala will be talking to us from the Effective Coaching Pathway, Level 5, High Performance Leadership. And High Performance Leadership Project is where he gathered a team of guidance committee members that will help guide him through that project, as well as he had an action team to actually do the project, because leaders do not take actions themselves. I say leaders never act alone. They always act with team. And I'm going to evaluate it based upon what he's speaking about, how his project went. This is the second speech, so he's finished his project already, and he's going to report the results to us. And it's 5 to 7 minutes. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you very much, Cynthia, for stepping in on as an evaluator. Let me introduce the speaker. And Isaac, would you give
One
him?
moment, please. I'm sorry about this. Tal has requested screen sharing and I don't.
I know, Kathleen, I was going to ask Isaac to do that for him.
Okay.
Thank you. Isaac, would you please give Tala screen sharing ability?
It is done. You got it,
Thank
Tyler.
you. Okay. So let me introduce Tala Ben Hamid. The best things in life are three. The best things in life are three. Tala Hamid.
Thank you so much. Give me a moment to start the background. I hope everyone can see it.
Yes.
So can I, yeah, thank you so much. Fellow Toastmasters guests, times have changed. And I had to change along with the times. As a typical introvert, the scariest thing for me has always been, guess what? Other people. And to this day, I'm scared to death. And by extension, I'm scared of working in teams. By nature, I'm something of a lone warrior. And I always like to work alone. I enjoy working alone. And I'm ashamed to admit that even after 7 years in Toastmasters, working with a team has always been to me like a jump into the unknown, into the unknown, into the unknown. Every team is different. Every person is different. Every assignment is different. It can get so scary. But one has to step across that threshold. Because with teams, you get farther. It all started with an idea that I believe very strongly in. It's a change word, and it is no longer enough to have a Toastmasters. Instead, you need to ask yourself these questions. Why does your club exist? Is it because it is in San Francisco or Karachi or Mumbai? Not good enough. Even as we speak, there are dozens of clubs that are having their meeting online. And it doesn't really matter where they are incorporated. So why would you join your club? What would make you join the meeting of leaders worldwide or any other club that you are running or are part of or have established? The barriers have broken. There is fierce competition for your screen time. And it's not only from other Toastmasters clubs. It is from everything else that is on the screen. It is your Netflix subscription. It is your Twitter addiction. It is your reading habit. It is your TikTok obsession. All of those things are so easy to fall into. And sometimes you feel we would rather be passive consumers of entertainment. So easy and comfortable, isn't it? But Toastmasters does not teach us to be passive, does it? When you become a Toastmaster, especially when you assume a leadership position, the first thing that falls away is passiveness. Since a few years, whenever I'm sitting idle and I'm just watching some movie or watching YouTube, I'm constantly thinking to myself, no, this isn't right. I must be missing something. There must be something I must have forgotten doing. That's why I have this free time. And you know what? This is what Toastmasters does to you because you constantly feel compelled to contribute. Your skills need to be utilized at every point in time. And while that may become unhealthy at times, overall, it is something healthy to have. So, knowing that you know now, would you join your club knowing what you know now? And the answer to that is getting tougher by the day. One has to make their club interesting and unique. Every club needs to provide something that the competition is not providing. And to that end, I feel that one of the answers is themed clubs. I established one themed club called Quantum League last year. And this year, I aim to establish not one, not two, but 3 themed clubs to add to our district. The first club is Wordwise Toastmasters, and it is for book lovers, for people who like to write and would like to learn the craft of writing. They would like to learn to appreciate literature and does not need to be in any specific language. There are people out there, maybe not millions, but hundreds of thousands of people who still join book clubs today. So why not combine a Toastmasters club and its desire to be active and contributing with the desire to appreciate literature? The second club is Exhibit 1. This came from a comment I heard at our district conference from one of the senior Toastmasters. They told us that Toastmasters teaches us storytelling, but they do not teach us visual storytelling. And this is the need of the hour. Everybody is on the screen all the time, and it's no longer enough to be a talking head like this anymore. You have to be the complete package. You have to have a background. You have to have some sort of soundtrack. You have to make an impression. In this day and age where everybody can grab a camera and make a movie, it is no longer enough to just be a talking head to get your point across. Everybody is creating content, and there's no reason that Toastmasters, who are already trained to create the best, most targeted, most curated, most eclectic content out there, they cannot graduate to this medium of visual storytelling. So the idea behind this club is that this club would teach the art of visual storytelling, the techniques to grab the attention of anyone staring at the screen and to tell your story more effectively. It will feature keynotes. It will also feature reviews of projects by members. In addition to Toastmasters evaluation, they will also be evaluated as visual projects. So that is the second project. And the third is Midnight Magic. And I was the inspiration behind this club because I sleep at 2 a.m. So I thought that there would be a market for people who stay past midnight and they'd be willing to invest their time in a club that meets at 12 midnight. And why not couple that with the theme of everything that's associated with midnight? Horror, mystery, fantasy, witchcraft, you name it. And the idea is that 12 midnight in Pakistan is the best time for every country that is west of Pakistan on the globe, all the way up to the west coast of the United States. You know where I'm going with this? 12 midnight in Pakistan is 12 noon at San Francisco. And every time in between is a potentially good time to meet for Toastmasters that exists between Pakistan and United States and every region, every time zone. So for those Toastmasters, the club will not be meeting on midnight. It will be meeting some time before midnight, and yet it will have themes related to the witching hour. Now, I embarked alone. I scouted some teams for all three clubs, but progress was slow because, in case you didn't notice, I tend to have a lot to do. So I chanced upon this, if I say so myself, another brilliant idea. I thought, why don't I distribute these 3 clubs to the 3 divisions in my district and task the division directors to establish one of these clubs and see who gets to charter first. So that will add 3 clubs to the district. That will bring these 3 wonderful theme clubs into existence. And that will create some healthy competition. So I have not 1 or 2, but 3 advisory teams working on these projects right now. They have taken up the mantle and they are trying their best to establish these clubs before the other district does. And I will take this opportunity to not only introduce these clubs to you, which I just did, I would also like to recruit anyone who can help me establishing one of these 3 clubs. Please feel free to message me. This can be your high performance leadership project. This can even be your DTM project. If you need a sponsor credit for your DTM, there is a possibility because 3 clubs means potentially 6 sponsor or mentor credits. We can look at that. Or if you want to do any other pathway projects through this launch, I welcome you with open arms. It will be a win-win situation because we will be able to add these 3 clubs to the world of Toastmasters. And I have a very strong feeling that coupled with Quantum Leap, these 3 clubs will turn the momentum towards themed clubs within the world of Toastmasters, which I believe is the way forward for all of us. It used to be the olden times when we used to think that a club is unique enough if it is founded in Karachi or Lahore or Mumbai. If a club is unique, if it is in a town in Iowa, right? That's no longer the case. The internet has leveled the playing field for everyone. And now this club, which exists online, is as good or better than any other club that meets in person. So rules have changed and we have to change with them. So together, let's step into the world of unknown because we know that when you step into the unknown world, exciting things happen. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
I tried. Thank you, Tala, for giving us this call to action. And again, it's put me in, coach. We're ready to play on any one of those 3 fabulous topics. Timer, would you put a minute on the time card for our evaluator?
I actually could not see the time, so I apologize. I must have exceeded it, but I actually could not see the colors. So maybe there's a connection problem at my end. So apologies for that.
I think Kathleen was muted. Her video was muted.
Oh, right. Kathleen, I see.
Yeah.
Oh, I apologize. I misunderstood things. I thought that what I see, you see. And so, oh, I apologize. Anyway, it was such a valuable speech that it was worth every second.
So I exceeded the time, in other words.
Just a bit.
All right, not too bad then. I'd love to know the time though.
When she does her report, you'll get your time. Okay. Are we at a minute yet, Kathleen?
Almost.
Okay. Tala, could you give me the name of the first club again?
First club is Wordwise, which is
Wordwise?
the literary appreciation thing. I will put all 3 in the chat box. So
Good, good. Thank you so much. And that looks like it's the end of our minute. At which point I'm going to ask Marlon Pareto to please announce the speech, path, project, purpose, and timing for Alpana's presentation.
Thank you so much, Madam Toastmaster of the meeting, members of the executive, and especially, special invited guests and fellow Toastmasters. Good, whatever time of the day it is for you. This is an exceptionally exciting time for Toastmaster Alpana. As for all Toastmasters, it is her icebreaker. The time when you put those toes into the water to test it out, to see what you're about. Toastmaster Alpana's purpose of her speech is to introduce herself to the club and also to find out things about herself with respect to her speaking that she may or may not know. I'll be listening for aspects of vocal variety and also some sort of sense of how she engaged the audience. Over to you, Madam Toastmaster of the meeting.
Thank you, Marlon, so very much. On that, let me introduce Alpana Aris King. Ooh, oh, what is in a name? What is in a name? Alpana Aris Khan.
Well, thank you so much, Madam Toastmaster. Have you ever had your name mispronounced? I have, and it may be the same for you. So while I've been in this club for several weeks, this is the first time that I'm formally sharing a little bit about myself in this icebreaker. And I'd like to share 3 things about me. First is where I'm from, what I do, and why it's important for me to have my name pronounced correctly. So my name is Alpana, Alpana. I'm a personal branding coach, storyteller, and an international photographer with work published in the New York Times, Instagram, and Apple. I've worked with celebrities in the US and India, multinational CEOs, nonprofits, as well as private individuals. My superpower is connection, and I've honed my skill from photographing people on the street from all walks of life and sharing their stories. Now, a few years back, I photographed a Supreme Court justice, Justice Cuellar. Originally, I was given only 10 minutes to photograph the justice. Once I got talking to him, we ended up spending over 45 minutes together. And I do believe connecting to people on a human level, no matter who they are, can make a difference. Today, I help women entrepreneurs get visible to create impact, influence, and an income. People ask me why I got started doing the line of work that I do. Now, the reason is going back to my childhood. I struggled a lot to be seen in a patriarchal culture. And even after I had worked for several years as this badass photographer, I found comfort in hiding behind the camera rather than stepping in front of it. Now, after helping so many women tell their stories, I see the discomfort they feel when they are being seen. And I help them be bold and seen. Now, back to my name. When I first came to the US from India, I came with 2 suitcases, $1,000, and a pressure cooker. When I was new in this country, people said my name in so many different ways, and I just let them say it. I was called Alpina, Altuna, Alpina, even Big Al, which was the name of a strip club in the town that I lived in. So my point is, I let people say my name in whichever way they would, but there was always that part of me that did not feel seen. And then when I started working with these women entrepreneurs, I realized that I wanted things to be different. Now my name is Alpana, which I was given by my parents, which is a work of art in Bengali, which is an Eastern Indian name. And in my country, people don't have a problem pronouncing my name. So now I have decided wherever I am going to help people say my name, for 3 reasons. One is that it's a big part of my identity as a personal branding coach, and I want to model it to my clients, to others, and even to my son in whatever he wants to, however he wants to chart his life. The second is to build empathy in communities for people from other cultures that have difficult names or have accents. When you hear an accent, I want you to remember that people from those countries are probably multilingual and not from the dominant culture. The third thing is because my name is a pretty cool name, and by pronouncing it correctly, you're also practicing allyship and inclusion. And I just wanted to wrap it up that in the beginning today, our distinguished president also asked some of the guests how their names were being pronounced. And I thought that was such a beautiful display of leadership and inclusion. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Ulpana, I so apologize for not pronouncing your name correctly when I introduced you. Please forgive me. With that,
It's
timer.
quite okay. My intention was to help people.
Kathleen, would you put a minute on the timer? Thank you.
There's our minute.
Thank you so much, Madam Timer. Moving right along, I would like to bring our timer back up on stage and to announce the timing colors for table topics.
Every speaker has 1 to 2 minutes. So green will appear at 1 minute. 1.5 is yellow. Red is 2 minutes with 30 seconds to wrap up. And another point of advice that the timer offers is that our table topics session will end at 27 minutes after the hour.
Thank you, Madam Timer. And with that, let me introduce our table topics mistress, Cassandra Garabedian. Please, Cassandra, give us those really insightful questions that you have today.
Thank you, Linda. Okay, we've had some great speeches. I really enjoyed it from everyone. Thank you so much. Now it's time for our table topics, and it centers around our theme today, also our word of the day. So the theme is coaching, and our word of the day is skills. So I'd like to ask first some of our members, and then I'll go to our guests. So let's start with our member, and let's go with Isaac. Isaac, I'm going to pitch this question over to you. Now, I believe you are a real sports fan. So Pick one of your, any team.
The Los Angeles Lakers.
Okay, so the coach.
Oh.
What is it about this coach that you like so much? And I am going to grant you, what is the coach name, first of all?
I'm gonna pick Pat Riley, Coach Pat Riley. So this
Okay,
is in the,
Coach Pat Riley. I am going to grant you your wish. Coach Pat Riley is going to coach you. Why Coach Pat Riley?
well, Coach, he was very he had a great imagination and he changed the way that the Lakers played. He had what they called it Showtime, but the bottom line is that they would run continually all through the game and pass. They would have to pass the ball 3 times before they would shoot. So as a
But he's
result,
coaching you, Isaac. He's coaching you. So what is he coaching
okay.
you on?
Okay.
He's coaching you.
Well, Coach, I have a problem with 3 shots, making the 3-shot ball. I can only do layups. So Isaac, this is what you have to do. You have to just every day before the game starts, I want you to do 100 3-point shots, even though you may miss 80, 90 of them. If you keep doing that, eventually you'll start getting that ball to go through that hoop and you'll be making 3-point shots like a champ. But Coach, the other problem that I have is I'm too short. I can't really shoot over these tall players because they're tall, they're 6 feet and over, and I'm 5'7". So what can I do? Well, you need to get faster. I need you to go around these players with your speed, because just trying to shoot standing up like you are too short. I would agree with that. So you need to practice your skills of moving around each player. Coach, you've been very informative and I appreciate what you did. And I think it's going to improve my skills on the court. I think I'll be a very skilled player with your input. Back to you, Madam Table Topics Master.
Thank you, Isaac. Okay. Let's go with how about Kathleen? You've been coached in your life many times. How is it that you can compare the different styles of coaching? And can you pick a style that you tend to like over one over the other? There's different styles of coaching. Which one do you gravitate towards more than the other?
Thank you, Madam Table Topics Mistress, for this very insightful, provocative question. This meeting is about the theme of coaching, and we heard from master coaches. We heard about the need for coaching. We heard about both sides of coaching, needing coaching and giving coaching. And what struck me most about this session was the answer that our Toastmaster of the Day and past mistress, coach, and leader, Linda Patton, gave us, which is listen. If we listen as a teacher, we recognize who that individual or the character of the group. We recognize what makes the character, who is that individual. And that is what I believe we most need in a coaching conversation or any conversation. It is a recognition of the who-ness of the protege, of the person that you're in conversation with. So that is what I look for. It's what I respond to most in a coach and what I aspire to do as a coach. Thank you very much for
Thank you.
the question.
Thank you, Catherine. Very well put together. Thank you. Now, I'd like to go to one of our guests, if I may. And I'd like to go to Chris. Is Chris still here?
I think Chris is gone.
Okay, Chris is gone. Okay, can I get Anita? May I go to Anita? Anita, would you like to take this question? Okay, great.
Is that me?
Yes.
Madam Table Topics Master? Yes. Annetta.
Annetta, I'm sorry. Please forgive me on that. We have here, as you can see, putting this whole production together so that we can enjoy this meeting. It takes a village. Not only the people here that you see, but behind the scenes. And we also have partners outside to help us put this production together in partnership. And so with that, and our members volunteered to put this production together. And we have mentors that are coaching and helping us to get to this level, to learn about how to put this production together. So in doing so, in that mentoring and coaching in these roles, there's a lot of communication and different skill sets and different people learning, having different ways of skill sets and communication and ways of learning. How do you learn best? And how do you decide who you put together and ways in which they learn best? How do you facilitate that?
Thank you, Madam Topics Master. Annetta learns best by hands-on, but I also am a visual. I need to see what you're talking about, and then I like to work it. As one that serves as a mentor and a coach, and I know that Toastmasters likes the hybrid approach of that, and that's a good thing, because I see a mentor as one that has been there, done that, and now teaches others. Not so much in a teaching education type mode, but through the experience and then listening, where the coach is all about getting you in the game and mastering your skills. So when I put a team together, I like a mixture of individuals that are visuals, hands-on, and those that like to read about it. And it takes all of that to put a great team together, because when you have all one thing that is alike, it tends to go that way. Even no matter how hard they try to not make it like them, they may not have the skills that allow them to make it so much that all types of learning experiences are representative on the team. So for my team, I like a mixture. And then I try to coach where there is a opportunity to build that skill. Back to you, Madam
Thank you
Tabletop.
so much. Thank you. Thank you. Very good. How much time do I have? Do I have enough for one more?
Plenty of time till
Oh,
about 9 minutes if you want it.
okay. Tell me, okay, I gotta pick someone. Sally Reyes, Miss Sally Reyes. Let's get you on the podium here.
Hello, yes.
Yes. Tell me a time when a coach just didn't get what you were after. They didn't see your goals, what you were actually trying to accomplish. They were more interested in what they were, their intentions, what they were looking for, instead of what you were looking for, what you were trying to accomplish.
Yes, I think, especially as I'm a landscaper, and I went to work for a school district that looked awful. It was shoddy and it was terrible. And I tried to talk to one of my bosses about the possibility of involving the community, the children, and the parents in cleaning up a school and giving us a head start because we were so understaffed. And it was very difficult to get across that this would improve the appearance of the overall appearance of our schools and our representation. So it took me months to point out that we could be talking to the community and getting as many people as possible and students involved in our project. And eventually the school person contacted the community, the city, and we actually was able to bring me services from from all around the city. For instance, the dump trunk people, because we had a huge day where there were like 90 people, and they even lined up an expert in each possibility, such as painting the lockers, picking up trash, digging out a new walkway. There was a whole list of things we wanted done, and one person said, line up behind the thing you want to do. And we finally got, after months and months, one day where 100 people went to work and transformed the school, which increased our appearance, our worthwhile, and our self-worth, that we were really putting out, communicating with the whole community, as well as those with parents with children in school. That was an extremely successful one after getting somebody to get the vision that we needed a bigger vision. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Sally Reyes. That was excellent. Okay. Now let's go to our president, Tala. Is he here still? Can I get our president, Tala?
Did we hear from all the guests? I don't think we did.
I wonder if Malcolm Wilson
Yeah,
wants to
especially
speak.
Malcolm. I would
Oh,
love to
okay,
hear
let's
from
get-
Malcolm.
Let's get Malcolm.
Yeah.
Malcolm, can you step up to the podium? Hi, Malcolm. Okay,
Hi, Coach.
let's try this one. I'm gonna ask you a question in regards to skills. In our coaches, we like to say that we want one with great skills and desirable characteristics. What skills, what characteristics, what attributes do you look for?
Thank you for the question, Madam Table Topic Master. So here's the thing about coaching. As you've heard already, a very important skill is the art of listening. And not just any listening, deep listening, focused listening. Because without listening, how would you know what to coach about? It's through listening you can have an idea of what's going on with the coachee. And then that opens the door to help. Now, coaching is not just limited to the art of listening. No, a very powerful skill as a successful coach is the ability to ask the right question at the right time. And here's why this is important. Because by asking the right question at the right time, you disrupt the coachee, hence opening the door to new possibilities. And guess what? Once the coachee sees an opportunity through the coaching, they might go back to their job and say, Coach, put me back in the game. Thank you, Madam Table
Oh,
Topic
that's
Master.
excellent. Love that. Great answer. Thank you, Malcolm. Okay, let's see, who else?
I wonder about Misty Forsman. Misty Forsman, did she?
I'm here.
Oh, good. I wonder if you would like to speak. Would you care to ask a question of Misty Forsman? Cassandra?
I would be delighted to have one.
Who's left? I'm gonna have to shut it down. I have one more and then I'm gonna have to shut it down. I'm in the office here.
Oh,
We're
you
having
know,
issues and-
actually, we have 1 minute left. So if you have to shut it down, this would be a good time to shut it down.
Okay.
So Misty, we look forward to chatting with you again.
Thank you so much. Coaching for me has to do with energy coaching, so it's a very different topic than what I've heard so far.
Good, we'll hear about that perhaps in a speech.
Possibly you will, yes.
That would be an interesting speech.
Back to you, Table Topics Master.
That was amazing. I was so impressed, Cassandra. Man, do you
Thank
think
you.
deeply?
Thank you.
Okay, let me turn this over to our general evaluator, Isaac Ford, for our evaluation portion of the meeting.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. And now the really most important part of Toastmasters is the general the evaluation of speeches, because each speaker want to know how their speech is coming across. So this is the section where we're going to do that. So we have two evaluators tonight. The first one will be Cynthia. Cynthia Stott, will you please take the podium to evaluate
Tala.
Tala?
Thank you, Isaac. Appreciate that. And thank you, Tala, for giving that amazing speech. That was so engaging. Oops. Oh. Sorry, I got a phone call. That was so engaging. I loved even your title. I was intrigued at the title. And I loved your serenade. That was great. And I felt so much of your enthusiasm, especially about the midnight club that it sounds like you're opening a new club and you want to get people excited about it. But I wasn't really clear on if it's a new club and you're trying to get people excited about it. I wasn't sure about your vision and mission for your project. So I would know what you exactly were doing. It's always helpful if I have the vision, the mission, and the measurable goals that you're using to see if this project succeeded or not. And then how you did with the project itself. It sounded like you were getting people enthused about looking at their club to make sure that their club is clear about how it presents a unique experience with Toastmasters. But yeah, I wasn't really clear. And I'm really surprised, Tala, because I know you're an amazing speaker and leader. And I think it's really important you were very compelling, but you weren't clear, at least not to me. And maybe it's because I'm distracted by my fire alarm going off in the background. But I would have liked to have received more clear guidance on what you did. And then especially for your call to action to us, because I was excited to do it, to be a part of it, but I wasn't sure what you want to be a part of. Okay. What I would challenge you to do is to give this speech more often. You're a member of the District 57 Speakers Bureau, and I think it'd be great, especially if you're wanting people to come on board with you and do something, that you give this speech again through the Speakers Bureau and maybe even through the International Speech Contest. I know that I think you're eligible this year because you're no longer a district leader. You're not eligible this year? No. Okay, maybe next year. I'm excited to have you inspire people with this amazing speech. Thank you very much. Back to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Great, thank you for that, Cynthia. Our next evaluator will be Marlon Perijo, and he's going to be evaluating Alpana. Marlon?
Thank you much, Mr. General Evaluator. And I would think you would find that the name is Toastmaster Alpana. Alpana. Yes.
The host has spot. In the host has spot. Zoom.us.
Okay, so Toastmaster Alpana, it is first things first. I would encourage you, do not, if you have that speech written down, do not get rid of it. Keep it somewhere, keep it safe, keep it so that you can edit it. Do not get rid of it. Second thing, do not get rid of that accent. I know it's impossible to get rid of an accent. Do not get rid of that accent. Keep that accent. It is mesmerizing. Thirdly, that story was wonderful. That whole thing with you did things with celebrities. You have done things with high court judges and so on. What I would suggest that you do, however, is that wonderful story that you have, put vocal variety in it. And you will see that, I think, in level 4, there's an elective on level 4 for your vocal variety. We need to feel the excitement. We need to feel the highs and lows of your speech. Like, for example, when you say they call you El Pana and El Paina and Altuna, that could be done so funny. You could say, they call me Elpina, Elpana, and then stop, and Altuna. When you can give that pause, you draw, people like to laugh. Do you understand? So use that, your whole vocabulary. You can go high, you can go low, and these things makes your speech go from good to great to unforgettable. I would also suggest your title of your speech is what's in a name. Try to keep that whole name thing throughout the entire theme. Everything is good in the speech, but it could have been in different locations in a more transition from one thing to the next. So the name, your name in the 3 points flows throughout one central theme. You understand? And last but not least, your introduction and your conclusion supposed to be powerful and exciting. You know why? Because your introduction is the first thing that they hear, so it draws them in. But your conclusion is the last thing they hear, so that they will never forget you. Alpana, you have a very good thing going. I can only expect good things from you. Do not lose the accent, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you
Now
for
it's
that
window.
insightful evaluation. Actually, both our evaluators did a great job. And I know for me, that's the one thing that really brings members to your club, is when they know they're going to get a good evaluation. Now, we have some reports that I would like to bring to the front. So first person I'm going to put in the game is going to be our grammarian, and that is Sally Reyes. Sally, you have the podium.
Thank you. By the way, my name is Reyes, pronounced Reyes.
Ah, thank you very much.
We'll get you into Spanish too. Thank you. I had a little trouble with my machinery, so I didn't hear everything in terms of the word skill. I did love Catherine's word for recognition, and Tala step into the unknown world. I love that. That's a really challenge to all of us. And Tala used it twice, Cassandra once, and Malcolm once that I heard. I'm sorry it wasn't a generous gathering of the use of skill, and maybe there was something wrong with my machine, but I'll do better next time. And I thought the speeches knit together very well. Thank you.
Great, thank you for that, Sally. And up next is going to be our timer for today. And that would be Kathleen Peel. So Kathleen, you have the ball.
I think that I will just talk about the one speech that went outside the prescribed parameters, and that is Talha's speech, which was so mesmerizing to me. I love the way Talha thinks. I love the way Talha speaks. I'm so inspired by him that I didn't notice that he went over time, and he did go over time by several minutes. And that is because I, as timer, did not recognize that I have to set things up a certain way so that my screen is visible to the group. So it's my fault that Talha went over time. Everyone else did beautifully, perfectly. Back to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Great, thank you for that, Kathleen. Okay, now it is my time to give a general evaluation of the meeting. We started on time, and I like how the president opened the meeting. And this is something that I'm learning, I'm taking away from this meeting, is ask them to pronounce their name, because I will always turn it around upside down. So thank you for that lesson on pronouncing people's names and welcoming them. I thought that the keynote speaker did a great job. I was hoping he could stick around, but he did a fantastic job. And I liked how honest he was about saying, hey, look, there's a lot that I don't know about this. And everybody just jumped in because we got a lot of DTMs in this group. So I thought that that was a great job that they did. And then you can't leave out our table topics mistress, Cassandra. She always comes up with these thoughts and ideas that are going to make you think. It's not going to be no yes, no, but you're going to have to dig in to that little brain cell and start thinking about what she's asking you. And I thought that was good. And of course, the speeches. We had two great speakers. And Alpana, I'll leave it alone because I'm always saying people's names incorrect. But I really liked how you brought out more about you, because a lot of things that you told us we didn't know. And that's always exciting to hear, those personal stories. So that's going to be the end of my portion of the evaluation. I thought it was a fantastic, awesome meeting, enjoyed it. And now I'm going to return the ball to our Toastmaster of the day, Linda.
Okay, and I'm going to turn it right around to our VPE, Kathleen Vale.
We're going to have in the next meeting of this time slot, that is October 24 at this time slot, whatever that means for your local time, we're going to have a party. We're going to have a celebration of who we are and who we are becoming together using this program, busting our chops, opening our hearts, daring to say more, risk more, do more. And this is a wonderful club because we do that together. We trust ourselves, we trust each other, and we go for broke. We're going to have a party where most of it is going to be table topics. And it's going to be about the work that we do together. I believe that job will be open to a volunteer, and it will be, the job will be serving that particular goal of designing questions that have to do with what I have learned in Toastmasters, how I have grown in Toastmasters, and the guests will be answering questions like, what do you want to do in Toastmasters? How will you grow? And this is a opportunity to stretch and question what we do and what we want. Is there a volunteer for that big job for what would be the 24th of October at what is 11 o'clock California time, Pacific time, and this local time for you? Is there a volunteer for that job?
Kathleen, I don't know if you saw the chat from Alpana, but she said Diwali is that day. And I think that's great. That's a festival of lights, I believe. And we could celebrate both the festival of lights and our 2-year anniversary.
Can't beat that. That's lights amazing. And brights all the way. Yes.
Awesome. And Alpana, would you like to take on the table topics role or some other role in that celebration? Sure. Because then you could talk about what Diwali is too.
Sure.
Yeah.
I could do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. And you're a new Toastmaster, so be good to ask others, what are they getting out of Toastmasters and interview. So it's basically interviewing people. Yeah. So you have your volunteer.
And we can
Kathleen.
work together if you like, Alpana, in designing questions, powerful questions, if you would like.
Thank you.
And we will want a grammarian for the session. Do we have a volunteer for grammarian?
If no one else is interested, I love it. Thank you.
All righty, we love you.
May I just add that I did use skill once in my
Excellent.
talk?
I thought so.
Yes.
Great way to stand up for yourself. Empowered
Yes,
members.
atta girl.
Yeah.
Brilliant. And we will need a timer. Who would like to volunteer to be our timer?
And we need a timer and a Toastmaster of the day. Is that all we need?
I will just check on that.
Because I don't think we're going to have any speeches that day. Or
Oh, we could have a general, oh, I guess the general evaluator could just do a, not include evaluators, but could do a general wrap up.
if we have
comment.
somebody that wants to volunteer for that. So we would need 3 more roles then. Toastmaster of the day, timer, and general evaluator.
What do you need, General Evaluator?
All righty, thank you.
That's what you
Okay,
say.
now,
Well,
we
all right.
are a team here.
I'll be the timer.
Well, I want to ask that people do extra work. They expand their skills. They give and receive. So I very much appreciate your generosity, Isaac, and I encourage us all to be generous and serve as timer. Do I
And,
hear
and
any?
would you be willing to train people, Isaac and timer? If they want to volunteer to be a timer, but they're not really sure how they would do it?
Yeah, no problem at all.
Awesome.
Are there people in the group now who would like to serve as timer and who want extra training? Do I see any hands raised? Remember, we are a team.
And we also need a Toastmaster of the day, right?
That is true.
Currently unmuted.
I think, didn't we decide on Toastmaster of the Day in the executive committee meeting? If I'm
I
correct.
think we did. I forget. Was
Yeah.
that you, Talha?
Yeah, that's
I think
why
you
I.
are. Yes, okay.
Yeah.
Thank
Okay,
you very
great.
much.
Great, awesome.
Okay, so
Rabia,
I'm
will
going
you
to be
be here?
pestering us all for service as timer. We don't slide here. And with that, I will volunteer to be the timer. Oh, or do you want to? Thank you. Thank you for volunteering, Isaac. I'll sign you up as timer.
Or Rabia, will you be here for that day? I don't know if you're traveling on the 24th.
She is traveling, but she is within the United States, so
She's not
I
here.
will confirm from her. I can
Okay.
confirm for her, but yeah, no worries.
Okay.
So if I'm correct, and just to recap, we will have a sort of a keynote panel discussion. The panel discussion will be hosted by one of the Karachi Toastmasters Club members who have stepped up, by the way. We will have we decided on 2 facilitators. One was the grammarian and one was a timer. and both have been identified. And then the table topics master was to be with leaders worldwide. So yeah, that has been decided too. And in that meeting, we left it up in the air kind of that whether we need a general evaluator or not. But I think it will be good to have a general evaluator. So no worries there. And we can balance out the rest of the things by, adjusting who we invite for table topics. Because the panel discussion will be populated by leaders worldwide members. So maybe the table topics can skew more towards the non-members, like the Karachi Toastmasters members and other guests. So I think that is what we agreed during the executive committee meeting, if I'm correct.
And would the timer for the panel discussion expand into serving as for the whole meeting?
Yes. Yes, we don't have two timers. They're just a
Okay.
timer for the whole meeting.
And the
Yeah.
timer is from
Karachi.
the Karachi. Oh, so we do not
Yeah.
need
Yeah.
a timer.
Yeah.
Isaac does not need to serve as timer.
Is this
Yeah.
for the
I forgot it was
October
a joint meeting.
24th?
Yes.
This is for
This is
October
for
24th?
24th.
So how long will the table
Yes.
topics be and how, because I heard panel discussions also. So is it going to be like the first half is panel discussions and the second half is table topics?
That's correct.
Actually, panel discussion is roughly 20 minutes panel discussion and 5 minutes Q&A. And it will be based on the history of Leaders Worldwide, its foundation and the vision behind it. And the rest of the meeting will be pretty much table topics because there would be no speeches or evaluations. So that's how
Okay.
we will have space for celebration for once and let our hair down a bit, however little there is. So that's the plan.
Okay, so roughly about like half an hour for the table topics or what is the time frame?
Why don't I set the schedule up and give you the
Okay.
exact number of expected minutes?
Okay, that sounds
Yeah.
great.
Good.
Thank you so much.
Actually,
I'm excited. It sounds like
prospective
it's going to be a
agenda-
really good program. I forgot that it was also a joint meeting, so it'll be international. Great.
truly worldwide, like putting the worldwide and leader worldwide. So actually our VP Education has already floated a skeleton agenda. And I admit that I could not get around to actually reviewing it. But I think I'll have a look and maybe all the other people also that were emailed, they will have a look and then we can have an exact, we can then maybe float the prospective agenda on the club's WhatsApp group to give people an idea what to expect in terms of duration of various segments.
Okay, very good. Thank you kindly. And I turn the lectern to our president for takeaways, announcements.
All right. Thank you so much, Madam VP Education. And once again, congratulations on getting sorted for the next meeting. We know, being a VP Education of 2 clubs myself, there's absolutely nothing more rewarding. And there's nothing that brings greater tranquility and sense of peace in your life than having the role players lined up for the next meeting. So you can actually enjoy the period between this meeting and the next meeting. So congratulations on that. And now we turn to takeaways. And today, I think we'll move a bit away from the culinary theme that we've been following, which DTM Cynthia started by the way, the chocolate theme giveaways, and I continued by theming it around various edibles and drinkables. But today, we will move away from that and we will be giving something, some prized possession that you had in your childhood and that you wish to have again. So, but first you will have to share your thoughts about the meeting. So why don't we start with our Toastmaster of the day, Linda. Pat, what did you think about the meeting? What are you taking away?
What am I taking away? What I thought about the meeting was that, as always, it was very well tied together. We accomplished everything that we set out to accomplish. The role players were absolutely phenomenal. Everyone took their role very seriously, and yet we had some fun. We got to play John Fogerty, which is always a joy for me. What specific, I'm interested, Tala, in the 3 new clubs that you have. All of them sort of rang a bell at being an author, a speaker, and a lover of vampires and witches and all of that. So you and I need to talk. And that pretty much covers the sandbox. And you wanted to know the toy? Well, my toy was alive and stood about 16 hands high. And I would love to have Lady Brett Ashley back. She was my horse.
Oh, all right. So keep on the lookout. Maybe in the near future, the bell will ring. And that is exactly what you'll find. I
Thank
cannot
you.
throw it away right now. So,
Okay, it's a challenge because she was black in the winter. And in the spring and summer, she was dapple gray with black legs, black mane, black tail. So very, very
all right.
special horse. So you find her.
Wow. Wow. Thanks. That description sounds really special. So
Wow.
I'll have to place a special order for that.
Thank you.
But maybe, just maybe, who knows? All right.
And
We
you can't
have,
throw her to me.
yeah, of course, it will have to be transported properly, right?
Right.
So, yeah, sorry, I can't throw it to you right now. We have our guest, Toastmaster Inetta. Toastmaster Inetta, what are you taking away from the meeting?
I will say always with this club, I always come in with high expectations and I am never disappointed. I will say my one takeaway today is that this club continues to serve in excellence, host meetings in excellence, of excellence, with the caliber of speakers, whether they're a guest or prepared speakers, which means that they invest in their members. They care about their members in seeing them be successful in meeting their achievements as a leader and as a communicator. Coming back at this point in time after the pandemic has changed us, I still see the excellence, and that is my takeaway from this meeting today. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that wonderful feedback. I won't pretend that I'm not over the moon after hearing that. And that must be true for every member of Leaders Worldwide right now. We're so grateful for that, for a little bit of sunshine that you provided. So if you could have one thing from your childhood back with you, what would that be? That you dearly miss and you no longer have?
I'm in a new season of my life and I'm reclaiming a lot of the things that I used to have. So I will say what I have recently reclaimed, that fun is still okay. And you must have it at every stage of your life, no matter the season of your life.
Wow. Let's not forget to have fun. Wow, what a lesson. Thank you so much for that. So instead of me giving away something to you, you gave us something valuable. Let's not forget to have fun. We had, all right, who else we have? We are running out of time, so I'll just invite one more person. And that would be, all right, our icebreaker today, Toastmaster Alpan. What are you taking away from today's meeting?
today's meeting was insightful for me because even the keynote speaker that spoke about the coaching and the being an ambassador was something that was new for me to learn. I feel like as a new Toastmaster, this is like a Pandora's box that keeps opening with all these new things that I'm discovering that are a part of Toastmasters. And then even just listening to different voices every time I come in, whether they are, speakers from our club or guest speakers, it's always such a delight to have those diversity of voices, especially as somebody had said, international voices, because as somebody that's from the East, that's what drew me to this club is its international group of leaders. So I especially enjoy that.
All right, thank you so much for that. And I must say that from every icebreaker, we learned so much. We are on the
Could-
receiving end. It's always
Could we hear
beautiful to hear an
Could
icebreaker.
we hear a word from Malcolm?
Oh, yeah, sure. Why not?
Can I just
Why not?
put in what I from my childhood? May I share quickly?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to share what I really miss from my childhood. This is going to sound crazy, is my pair of cropped jeans because it reminds me of my rebellion to be me, which was always like, there sometime somewhere inside me. And it's just something which is like a crazy thing that I miss.
Oh, I bet you've heard that song, Purani Jeans. Did you
No,
hear it?
you'll have to share that with me.
Oh, it's an
Purani jeans?
oldie. Purani Jeans means old jeans in Urdu. It's a
Yeah,
Pakistani
Purani
song.
old.
Became super hit in Pakistan and India. Yeah. So yeah, I'll share that with you. Now, quickly, let's move to our guest, Malcolm Wilson. Over to you, sir. What are you taking away?
Thank you, Mr. President. A few things I'm taking away is the positivity throughout our meeting. And as an educational meeting, it was very informative to learn about the coaching and ambassador role. And there are several things I would love to get back from my childhood. And one of them is something that my grandparents did not have the pleasure to enjoy. I used to love watching TV, cable TV. So I miss the remote so I can switch channels and not like back in the old days, having to get up and walk to the TV, turn the knob and walk back down to the sofa. Nah, Nowadays, everything is online, so I miss the remote. Back to you, Mr. President.
Oh, and you know what? Our parents told us that, in the olden days, we used to have a black and white TV. And today, we tell our kids, in the olden days, we had to walk up all the way to the TV to change channels. So, and they will tell their kids that in the olden days, we used to use a remote to change channels. But now, you guys can just think and the channel changes. Who knows what will happen? So, with that, we have 1 minute over time. So, and honestly, I don't want this meeting to end. It's so much fun. This is what Leaders Worldwide is. But we have to end at some point. So thank you very much, everyone, for attending, and see you all in a little less than, in a little more than exactly 1 week, because the next meeting will be the evening session. And hopefully see you after that as well at the exact same time. So thank you so much, everyone, and goodbye.